Good morning, everybody. I'm thinking I'm getting the hang of this after a whole year going live. I think I'm live. I've got a kid home with me today, and I'm on edge. I don't know if on edge, but I'm in anticipation of the summer holidays, squeezing a lime into my water, but feeling a little bit more like that. That's what I feel like on the inside. Like, oh no. And I got a call from the council that, long story short, my kid can't go to the camp that I signed her up for. So that's where I'm at. I'd like to just do a sound check here. Uh, Make sure that you guys can hear me. Last week we had about a minute and 8 seconds of silence. I mean, I was talking, but it was silent. So let's just see here. Good morning. Daniela is with me. Hi, Leora. I'm so happy to see you, ladies. Thanks for joining me live. If you're with me watching, say hi in the comments. That's your ticket in. Should start making it mandatory. Say hello in the comments. I want to see you. I decided to sit outside. Um, a reflection, I think, of the sense of claustrophobia rising. It just feels a little bit intense, right? Summer holidays. Are you feeling me? Anyone feeling me with summer holidays coming up? Maybe not now. Usually, many parents have their kids signed up in the first 3 weeks. They have the school camps here, but then it all goes to shit, and we're all scrambling. Good morning, Becca. It's good to see you. You can hear me. Thank you, Leora. Okay, so today we're going to talk about consequences. And it's really a response to a thread in the Motherhood in the Making community. Um, I had shared a story, an interaction I had with my daughter not long ago, last week. And it seemed to resonate with you ladies. And there were a lot of questions coming in. Particularly, Sarah had said that, the hardest part with consequences is thinking about them on the spot. Like, how do I choose the right consequence at the right time? And that's fair because, I'm so emotionally aroused. I'm so triggered. I'm so caught off guard by this tension, by this interaction, by this chutzpah, by the nerve of it all, that I'm really thrown off. And that's real. That's real. It's very hard to focus. It's very hard to be conscious when you're in a state of threat. And so often when we are divvying out consequences, it's because we feel threatened. And so the first thing I want to share here, and I'm going to share a few points, but the first thing I want to share here is that consequences is not what we do when we are angry. Consequences is not an outlet for your anger. It is not an outlet for your, good morning, Alana. It is not an outlet for your sense of disempowerment. I feel out of control here, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to get in control by giving you a consequence. So we're going to probably swing back around to that. I'll come back to that, but I wanted to start by saying that just so we know, just so we're clear. When we're talking about consequences, we're not talking about punishments. We're not talking about sticking it to your kids. We're not talking about unleashing our fury and decompressing, the pressure within us because we feel so disempowered. That's not what we're doing here. So the first thing you need to do is make sure, check in with yourself and see where you're at. And that's why in the 5-step framework, we first start with the pause, because the pause gives us permission to see that this is not going well. This is not going well. I was like, man, this is not going well. I'm standing outside of the bathroom in my house. My daughter's locked herself in, and I think this is not going well. Because sometimes sounds like, what the hell is happening here? And you can reflect on this and um, find the moments where it doesn't go well. That's what we want to do. That's what the pause is about. The pause is not about doing nothing. It's not about stopping. It's about pausing. It's about taking a moment to observe what's going on and to acknowledge what's really going on. And in this situation, it is not going well, and something's got to happen here. I need to step in here as the parent. I'm being called to arms. And then we reflect. and we reflect to make sure that we keep our stuff out of it. Again, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Actually, the opposite. We make space for it. We say, wow, I am really pissed right now. I am so mad. I could kill this kid. She's locked herself in the bathroom. I've got to go. Doesn't she care about me? Doesn't she think about me? She's so selfish. And this just narrative comes spilling out. It's a very familiar narrative. If you have had the opportunity to reflect on your thoughts and emotions, you will know how powerful they are, how deeply ingrained they are, how automatic they are, how threatening they can be, how real they are. We can explore that more, but that's what the reflect is about. And then we have to think about what's going on for this kid here. Like, wait, what is going on here? Because if we're going to give a consequence, right, and not just a punishment, not just, I am going to hit you, no TV for a year, you know, or you're not going to that birthday party, or whatever we pull out of our, you know, out of our top hat, just to make it stop. That's not what we're doing here. We're not trying to make anything stop. We're trying to teach our kids. That's what a consequence is at the end of the day. You're trying to teach your children. You're trying to guide them. You're trying to explain to them, not explain to them cognitively. Let me explain something to you, okay? But you're trying to provide them with the experience through your relationship, through your interactions, through your response of how the world works. You want to lock yourself in the bathroom? You want to lock yourself in the bathroom, and all of us need to get going? I've got clients lined up, and your dad is walking out the door. Your brother's got his backpack on, and he's ready. He's like, come on, guys, let's go. I want to go to school. And you're locked in the bathroom? Indeed, the thought that goes through my head, this isn't about you. Like, you can't take over here. And I'm conflicted with that thought because I've heard that thought in a very toxic way. I heard that in a very toxic way, in a way that I was being completely ignored and neglected and dismissed and shamed for my needs. But this thought here comes and actually says, when I reflect on it and I notice how it can be threatening for me, now I can think about it consciously and say, you know what, there's some truth here. She can't do this. Actually, I have a value. This is rooted in a value of mine and a value of ours, my husband and I, that we are guiding our children. We are raising our children, teaching them in our relationships, preparing them for the world, how to think of other people. You cannot live a happy, satisfying life if you only think about yourself. And I'm not talking about selfish, not just about being selfish, self-centered, snobby, you know, like I'm just like, it's all about me. I'm talking about, I don't have space for anybody else because I'm so busy. I'm so busy trying to survive here. I'm so busy trying to figure out who am I in this world. You can't live a satisfying life. I know, because for many years I was not living a satisfied life. I did not feel satisfied. I did not feel fulfilled. I did not feel secure. I did not feel confident that I was going to be able to fulfill my purpose. And that was because in my mind, there was no space for anybody else, which means I feel very alone. Now, I don't know about you, but when I reflect on my parenting vision, that's the first thing we do in the Parent with Confidence course and program, is we reflect on our vision. If you've been in the program with me, I'll take you back there. Remember, we did that. And the idea there is to stay anchored in, what am I really doing here? Because in the moment, and I'm caught up in the chaos, ultimately we come back to that vision. What am I doing here? Well, what I'm doing here is raising these children, taking care of them, their physical, emotional needs, and preparing them for life. I'm preparing them for the world out there. And I know that in the world out there, relationships, connections are key, not just business connections, not just, you know, keeping up appearances, not your reputation. That's how I was raised. I'm talking about real, authentic connection. And that's what I want to model in my relationship with my children today, so they can grow up and separate from me and attach to healthy, you know, create healthy attachment bonds with friends, romantic partners, etc. I didn't make this up. I did not make this up. This is outlined in the field of attachment. And all the research in attachment shows that the experiences in early childhood relationships, the quality of those relationships shapes the quality of children's attachment bonds through the lifespan So the relationship that I have with my kids today is going to, I don't want to use the word shape them again, prime them for the future relationships that they're going to have. And I want them to choose good people, people who see them, people with whom they can feel close to, cared for, people who receive their care, people who can also take care of themselves so that they're not in these codependent relationships. This is my goal. And this is what I have in mind, standing outside of the bathroom door with my head pressed up against, where the door meets the frame. And I just like talking right into it. And I'm very clear about what's going to happen. And I have both my daughter and me in mind. So the first bit, just to recap so far, the first part is that let's make sure that we're not using these consequences as an outlet for our rage and disempowerment, that we're taking responsibility for our emotional states. Number two, consequences are not punishments. They're avenues for teaching. Let me explain to you what's going to happen here. They are I'm in my garden and I have these trees my husband has planted. He's a gardener. He's planted these trees. And he has, he plants a tree. It's quite frail, fragile, it's vulnerable, it's flimsy. So he ties them up so that they stand, so they grow in the place that they're meant to grow. Hi, Avital, good morning. And also, so they don't get knocked down by the 4 o'clock winds that we sometimes get coming off of the Herodian here where we live. That's what a consequence is. It's holding things up. It holds up the relationship. It holds up so the tree can grow. These are what consequences are. It's supporting. It's not punishing. It's not punitive. It's not to make you feel like shit, you little shit. It's to explain to you how this is going to work. It's to give you security. It's to give you predictability. It's to let you know this is how it works. And not just this is the rule, like the TV goes off at 7. Okay, it's not just about the rule that we're upholding here. This is about the relationship. This is about me telling you that, hey, I'm a person here, as you are too. And we're in a relationship, and your behavior affects me. Now, that's a reality. Our kids' behavior affects us, right? It's up to me how it affects me. Just a moment, please. I'm going to take a drink of my water. It's up to me how it affects me. That's in my control. That is in my control. That's why we spend so much time reflecting. That's why some of you here have invested in working with me to really dive deep and reflect on what's really going on for you. Because that's on you. That's on me to make sure that my big emotions, I'm taking responsibility for them. I understand what's going on for me. I can identify them. I can soothe them and regulate them so that I don't turn to my kid and say, this is your fault. I'm dysregulated because this is your fault. And now I'm going to punish you for it. No, that's not what we're doing here. So when you're standing and you're like, standing on one leg, coming up with a consequence, well, I wish you luck because that's not how consequences work. Consequences take time because we're building relationships, understanding what's going on for me, understanding what's going on for this kid, knowing what my needs are, knowing what my kids' needs are. What do I want? What do they want? That can take some time because essentially what's necessary here to build, convey and uphold a consequence, a healthy one that nurtures your child's development and your relationship together and maintains a sense of control, are boundaries around the self, that I know who I am, I know what I need, I know what I want, and I'm okay with that. So let me be very clear with you about how this works. So I put my head up to the door and I explained to her, because I have her in mind. I know what she wants. She wants to avoid going to school. There's something at school that's uncomfortable for her, some social interaction. She's still finding her feet there in a new school. It's Corona, and she's also an empath and an introvert and feels more unsteady in social settings, which is a thing, by the way. That's a thing. There's nothing wrong with her. That's a thing. And so I know that she wants to avoid it. And I get that. Oh, I get it. But I also know that I have wants and needs, and there are other people in the family with wants and needs as well. And so I have to have those in mind too. And so I have that all going on at once. Standing outside the door, I've paused. This is not going well. I've I've already reflected, and I encourage you to do this because it makes consequences much easier to deliver, to establish, to communicate, and to maintain. Is to know what's going on for you, so that it doesn't get in the way of your clarity, of your consciousness, so that you can not only regulate and soothe yourself and be present, but also step into the mind of your child and know what's going on for them. Now, I'm not talking about a deep dive therapy session. I'm simply saying, hey, they're a person, they're a little person, and something's going on for them. Doesn't mean we don't need to judge it. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not whether it's allowed or it's not allowed. It just is. What is it? And I take a moment and I connect with that and I tap into that. I get it. And from there, I set the consequence. And keeping in mind that I'm trying to communicate or la vie, like pass on to my daughter the experience. I want to give her the experience, not teach her. It's not pedagogical. It's not cognitive. It's not an idea. It's an experience of the self, that her choices affect other people and there are consequences. Things will happen on account of your choices. I'll give you an example. My daughter, she's 14 years old. She comes home and she says, okay, I want to go to camp. This is the camp, by the way, I started with, and said she can't go. But here's how we got there. She comes to me and says, I want to go to camp. You want to go to camp? Yes. Okay, cool. What do you want to go? I want to go with my friend here who lives with me. We live together. We go to different schools and we want to go to camp together. Okay. Just sign me up for her grade and her school. I don't know. I said to my daughter, that sounds a little sketchy. Are you sure? Yeah. That's what her dad said to do. I was like, are you sure though? Have you looked into this? Yeah. I said, that doesn't sound right to me because you go to a completely different school and a different council, a different municipality. Are you sure? She's like, yeah. It's like, okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is an opportunity for her to learn that, we make choices and then things happen. I didn't think there would be a problem. If I thought there would be a problem, my job, first and foremost, is to protect her. So I would have stepped up and clarified. But she was pretty sure, and I didn't think there was an issue at the time. It seemed okay. I don't know why, but it seemed okay. And so I signed her up, and I got a call this morning. Your daughter can't go to this camp. You're like, she doesn't even go to that school that you signed her up for. And what school does she go to? She goes to a different school. She goes there. That's a totally different municipality, lady. What are you thinking? So that was the dialogue this morning. And she can't go. Now, what's my first reaction is, this is unfair. No fair. Nobody told me. And I'm having this very mature reaction happening. Nobody told me, and it's your fault. It's not their fault. Sure, there are things that they could have done. No, it's not their fault. This is what I'm training my children for, so that they come to adulthood and they make mistakes like we do, and they can tolerate them. Because that's a consequence. That's a consequence of a decision that I made as a parent. And it's a consequence of a decision my daughter made. And so I sent her a WhatsApp. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. I just got a call from the council. Looks like they can't register you with that school and that grade because you're not in that school or that grade. If you'd like me to see if I can get you into the camp for your class in your school, let me know. I'll see what I can do. I'll do my best. See you later. That's how it went. That, in all fairness, was the second try, because the first one sounded more like, this is your fault. I'm so mad at you. I didn't say it was your fault. I was so mad. And I said, I'm not sending that message, because that's not the lesson that I want to teach her. That is not the message I want to convey. The message here, the takeaway, is that this is not your fault. And so when you're delivering a consequence, you have to ask yourself, what's the takeaway? If you've been with me for a while here, I have said this to you ladies many times. What is your takeaway from this live? I want you to have a takeaway. I want you to be not passively consuming, but to be consciously reflecting on a takeaway. I also want you to consider this concept when you deliver consequences, because whether it's a consequence or it's a Facebook Live, we are guiding here. I'm guiding you, you're guiding your children, and teaching you about how things work, about how this world works. In my case, it's about how relationships work, how you work, how your kid might work, how relationships work, how the 5-step framework works. You're teaching your children about how the world works. So it's pretty important that we have a sense of how the world works. It's pretty important. And we do that by looking into our inner world. So that brings me back again to reflect and how important it is to reflect. So let me just quickly recap. I got to take my son to school. Yes, my son is home. I'm quite pleased and impressed that he has not come out, but that's great. Not that I mind so much, actually. If he came out, I wouldn't mind terribly, but it's nice to stay focused. So let's just recap here. Okay, number one, consequences. Just the word consequence. There will be a consequence is synonymous with punishment. Punishment is synonymous with emotional release, and that's not actually what it is. So let's get clear about what a consequence is. A consequence is a takeaway. This is a consequence is a playbook for takeaways. This is what's going to happen so that you can have this takeaway. This is the takeaway at the end that I want you to have. So the consequence is going to lead to that takeaway. And that's why we think of our values. But first, let me stick with the summary. So a consequence is not an outlet for your emotion, for your esteem. A consequence is not a punishment. It's a path to a takeaway. You want to keep both you and your child in mind. You do that by first reflecting on yourself and then connecting with your kid. So, right, we've got the pause, reflect, connect, and then we can respond. And sometimes we get it right and we post it in a Facebook group and everybody's like, wow, you really got your shit together. And sometimes we get it wrong. And that's okay too, because that's life. And that's essentially what we are trying to ultimately convey to our kids, right? Sometimes you get it wrong. It's about how we interpret and experience and tolerate the getting it wrong, the reality when you get things wrong, because you can't always get it right. You mess up. Sometimes you get impulsive and you color on the walls. Sometimes, you forget, you get absent-minded and you forget and you leave your shoes in the hallway. We mess up. I'm not here to make you feel like shit about it. A consequence isn't to make you feel like shit. A consequence is to help you understand how the world works and to leave you with a takeaway. And that takes time. It's a work in progress, not only in myself, but for my kids as well. Learning is through repetition. It takes time. So be kind to yourself, be kind to your kids, and remember your values. Remember your values. Remember what you're doing here. Remember your parenting vision. What is my vision here? What is my responsibility here to my kids? If you want to check out last week's live, I talk more about what our responsibility is as parents and what are your values. All right, ladies, thank you for joining me live. Tell me what your takeaways are. I'd love to hear what your takeaways are from today's live. Take a moment and just check in. Sometimes it's the first thought that is the best thought. And sometimes there's something that is really sticking out for you. And sometimes we consume content and we're just sort of passively consuming it. So just if that's the case here, no judgment, just take a moment and ask yourself, what am I taking away from this live? And drop it down in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me. And I will see you guys later in the group. Bye for now.